Tribune.
Yeah, es la voz de LA. It's like Cuna Galaxiana, come and kick it with us. I bring the bossa nova beats and talk the club that we love. Another year to adjust, and well, Coons we all trust. 6 titles in the cabin, tell the haters shut up. Mirar al horizonte con el cielo morado. Llegamos al estadio como siempre lo hago. Es la nueva temporada, ya cumplí 30 años. Rezándole a San Pequi que no dé al travesaño. Que repartan los balones y no sean tacaños. Que regrese el contraataque y que le hagamos daño. Un saludo para Robert, hermanos ecuatorianos. Que la táctica de Ananda nunca sean en vano. Si se trata de mi gala me levanto temprano. Ver el fur en verano, en el pasto tumbado. Siempre estoy a tu lado, en cualquier resultado. Vamos Galaxy, on top is where I gotta be. Chilling in the canopy, staging like a winery. Goals during rivalries, brew from the refinery. Only want the finer things, we letting you know. Lo que pasa en la galaxia, ready, let's start the show.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast always made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans and all you soccer fans in general, whether you're on the West Coast or you're on the East Coast. We are just happy you are here with us because tonight, we're taking another look at what the LA Galaxy have done in the offseason, whether the approach they are taking is the correct one, and who now will be expected to step up this year. Moving from Los Angeles and looking at the league, we'll be joined by special guest Footwork Magazine founder and Kickbase USA creative director Favi Renkel, who will be here to share what he thinks of the MLS offseason so far, what MLS transfer moves have moved him, what he thinks some of these stars where he thinks some of these stars will be going, and what he thinks about the Galaxy and how they've built their roster. And then as well, kind of finding out what adventures he's gotten to himself so far since he's moved there to the East. Plus, the jersey has officially dropped, and it's not a stunner, at least in my humble opinion. We'll get your thoughts about that, LA Galaxy fans. All of that and more coming up on tonight's episode of La Cuna Galaxiana. But before we go any further, let me introduce myself. I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Jalon. You can always find my written work at the Sporting Tribune, and you can find me online at El Escudero de LA. Y porque yo soy aquí, you know my co-host is here as well, el yerno guapo y el gitano perdido y el papá de Natita. Papá, hey man, we're inching ever so closer to the start of the season. How you feeling?
Yeah, CVI is this weekend, right, guys? So if you haven't got your tickets yet, definitely get your tickets. It's going to be really interesting to see the boys back out there, in public, not in a closed door session, right? I think I'm really excited to see. I mean, I'm not going to be there, unfortunately, but I'm excited to see, like, even on the stream, just what does Greg throw out there with how he sets up this team. You know, we've had a lot of acquisitions over this winter and a lot of unanswered questions that hopefully will get answered over the next coming weeks and heading into that first game against San Miguelito, Papa. It's only, February 19th, right? So 16, 15, 14 days away, something like that.
Yeah, man, super close. I mean, it felt just like yesterday. We were like, oh, it's 3 months away. Big Carlos Segovia in chat talking about Alan St. Maxime, who we will talk about in a little bit. So stick around for that, man. But yeah, if you're one of the people in chat, man, we do appreciate it. If you're here for the first time, we appreciate it even more. Jump on over to YouTube, hit that like or subscribe. We are on the march to 800 subscribers. We're ever so close, and with your help we can get there. Super chats are available. We do have an incredible guest on today. He knows ball. Man, it's been, I mean, I said earlier today, he's, the hardest working man in the soccer industry. And yeah, man, like no cap, like I just see him doing a little bit of everything and everywhere. And now, man, he's getting into new ventures, and we have an incredible guest to bring you, but you will only know about him if you subscribe. You'll only know about those guests, right? So if you want to get a question in to our incredible guest, Favi Renkel, go ahead and hit up the super chats. If you got to get something after chess, hit him up as well. And you know what, Ananda, tell the people how to stalk you.
You guys can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Cuna Galaxiana. You see my handle right there, and you see Rob's Rob, you put La Cuna Galaxiana. So, shout out to, well, you put both on there. There you go. Now I'm like, I think you switched it up on me. But anyways, you can find Rob at El Escudero LA. Of course, you can find him on the Sporting Tribune if you do like reading those articles. And I mean, you pretty much said everything else, Papa. So only that, como siempre, antes de olvidarme. Buenos días, tardes o noches, y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana.
Got real productive on us real quick,
Let's get it. I'm by the way, if you guys are like wondering why is there so much light, like natural light in Ananda's room right now, isn't it like in the middle of the night? Nope, I'm speaking to you guys in the future from the Twilight Zone. So it's kind of one of those things. But hello,
Ananda. He's the cosmopolitan one. He's out there doing his thing. Guys, we did our thing as well with Ghost TV and Jose, the homie bro Migos. We did a watch along here for the United and Arsenal match. I won't even talk about what that score was, but it was a fun time. And jumping on over to the news, since we already mentioned, I'm gonna say Maxime. Ananda, this was an incredible story coming out of Mexico, man. Sam Maxime had been in Mexico for I think like 6 months at most, just a short time, but he asked to be let go of his contract from Club America because his children were being subjected to racism. So if you remember, Club America signed him in August for around 10 million. So just not a long time at all. And he played 15 matches, scoring 3 and 3. And he said, and I quote, "If I'm being attacked, not a problem. I grew up, but there's one thing I will not tolerate, and it's my kids being attacked." And then Club America's coach, Andre Jardine, confirmed it. He said St. Maxime's children, unfortunately, were suffering from racism, and it happened multiple times. This is crazy, bro. And then I heard they man, who's the ex-Arsenal star who went to Mexico as well, man?
Why is the name escaping me? I don't know. Yeah, get back to me.
They lost that blood's dog, dude. But anyway, this is terrible, man. This is a horrible look. Obviously, like in the year of our Lord, that stuff like this is still happening. So but also chat. Carlos Segovia did mention. Wait, I forgot. He already joined a French team. He signed with RC Lens earlier today, and they had a pretty awesome welcome video for him. So
thank you, GCam. Aaron Ramsey.
Yeah,
Aaron Ramsey.
There you go, Aaron Ramsey. Yeah, they lost Aaron Ramsey's dog, bro. Anyway, we'll go ahead and touch on some of these things with Don Favi here. Especially, I want to get his thoughts on this whole Pochettino versus the people versus the ticket prices thing that's going down right now. If you guys weren't privy, Timothy Weah was asked what he thought about the ticket prices for the World Cup. And this is a couple of days ago, just before we found out today that parking a mile away from the stadium from SoFi is going to be around $300. And this is legitimate. You guys can look it up. So he, answered for the people, man. Like, no, the tickets are too expensive. To which Mauricio Pochettino answered, he's a soccer player. He's not a politician. He should concentrate on playing soccer, which is, essentially the whole shut up and dribble kind of thing. I've kind of had my battles with people all over the internets about that one. That one for whatever reason particularly got under my skin. Maybe just because it is so astronomical that the prices are so elevated. But Herculez Gomez, ex-Galaxy player, actually had really, really good thoughts on this one. So I would invite you guys to go look that up. But anyway, man, this is astronomical. But it's funny, Ananda, because Pochettino was just a couple of months complaining, like, you know what? We want people to come out to our games. Fans come out to our games. So it's like, Poach, fans come out to games. Also, Poach, fuck the fans. Who cares if the tickets are too expensive? So, but yet Pochettino also gets to be as political as he wants. But this is not even a political issue, Ananda. I mean, this is like just something that FIFA failed to follow through on. In their original plan for this World Cup, they say that these tickets were going to be much, much less expensive than they actually are. So, anyway, again, Herculez Gomez has some great thoughts on this. I invite you guys to check them out. Guys, we have the jersey reveal that happened this past weekend for season ticket members. The new jersey did drop, like I mentioned in the run-up. I don't dig it. There's a huge gap right there in the sash, obviously to accommodate that Herbalife sponsor. But I mean, hey, I do dig sashes, so I mean they kind of got it right. But anyway, Ananda, Erik Thommy was at this event after having landed on Friday. So anybody that was at this event, go ahead and drop some comments in chat. Let us know what was the thing to not miss at this event, and tell us what this jersey looked like in person. Guys, lastly, the G's played another preseason match, number 2 this season, this offseason. They beat DC United 4-1 behind goals from Marco Reus, Nasty Nazi, Aude, and Sanabria. Somebody pointed out that these are all the U22 players. This is what you want to see. You obviously want to see a 4-1 win. It is preseason, but you know what? You can only win what's in front of you. So anyway, Nanda, let's get to the man of the hour, man. Let's get to the reason like everybody's really here. Guys, please welcome back to the show one of our favorites. He is one of our favorite friends of the show, a guy that lives and breathes the game. We know this because he's always working in and around the sport to make it as accessible as possible for everyone in this country. Basically, call him the anti-poach. You've caught his work in The Athletic for Urban Pitch. You've seen him in international news. You've seen him in international news telecasts. He's the founder of Footwork Magazine and the creative director of Kickbase USA. Please welcome back to the show, Don Favi Renkel. Papa, please. Man, man. We just want to say thank you again, man, for joining us. We know you're out on the East Coast, man, and you're losing sleep for us, so thank you.
Hey, what an introduction. I mean, you guys are the superstars. Everybody's here for y'all, and I'm just here as a fan. Let's be honest here, all right? This is what, 3 years of being on, you know? It's always a pleasure to be on the show, and I always like talking to you guys, even if it's talking as friends. Like, I love that, you know? So this is easy for me.
For sure.
Hey,
for sure.
Favi, I'll never forget like us having the conversation outside of CVI when we first that's when I first met you. This was 3 years ago now, and the journeys that we've been in on like us and then you, like it's really cool, man. So it's like 3 years later in the future, here we are, right? Papa.
Yeah, and not only that, and hey bro, I told Ananda about that one time you helped me out in the Bay. I was basically like, Favi, help me, I'm stranded, and you're like, I got you, man. And so, you know, not only is he the hardest working man in the industry, but he's a nice guy, and he'll help you out. You know?
Hey, look, I think everybody here is hardworking because we're in 3 different time zones right now. All right, we are making it work. All right,
Hey, well, speaking of your time zone, I mean, I did mention that you're on the East Coast now. You are, a San Jose boy at heart. So how are you settling in, man? Te veo con frío, vos.
Yeah, it's cold as it's real cold out here. It's real cold. You know, when I came out here, they were like, "Oh, it's not that bad, bro. Like it snows and then it doesn't stick." And then when I came out here, literally the worst blizzard in 10 years. You know, like what are the odds? You know, so
welcome to New York.
Yeah, but luckily, my first girlfriend when I was 18, she gave me Tim's for Christmas one year, and oh snap! I probably shouldn't have said that because I might have to get rid of them now. But I use those to fair use right now. Like I be walking around in Tim's.
You got to be with Tim's, man.
Look, I made a joke the other day, and I used to take the train. I would wear my forces, and I would be like, all right, you know, like a normal person. Once I started wearing my Tim's, parents were starting to sit their kids next to me on the train, like, oh no, he good, like he from here, you know, like he not weird because he got Tim's.
It's a rite of passage. It's a rite of passage.
Exactly,
here,
you know,
exactly, man.
And well, like, they look at you different when you got Tim's out here.
So you're starting to be looked at like kind of as a native. So you're blending in and stuff like that. Well, don't worry, man. We still got you. We still got you here with your Cali roots, man. Well, what's been the biggest difference for you?
Biggest
from California to over there.
Honestly, the time difference. I mean, you know, me, I'm a podcast guy. I love being on these shows, and a lot of these shows, I didn't realize a lot of people have normal jobs, you know, and we would film at like 6 or 7, even 8, 9. And now that here, that's like 10, 11, 12, you know, so it's definitely a big difference. But I kind of every kind of move I make, I kind of understand a little more. Well, why isn't there anybody covering the East Coast and the West Coast? Well, that makes a lot of sense. Like how are you going to be on the East Coast podcast and then a West Coast podcast in the same night? There's no way, right? So it's truly an anomaly if you get to see someone that does everything. And I'm very grateful for everything I have, and I'm grateful for being in a situation where I'm able to, but it's just crazy, man. This whole kind of move and making content still is writing has been definitely a journey to me. I finally found a place out here, so that's always nice. It was 2 months of kind of Airbnb. Yeah. Well, it still hasn't hit me though. I mean, I lived in Japan for 2 years. And this kind of feels like a baby move compared to Japan. Like that hit me right away. First day. Yeah. Like like when you walk into every store and here it's like, you're just a normal ant, it doesn't matter, So it's not that big of a culture shock that I expected. But the trains are nice. I'm going to say that. Like, LA is supposed to have public transportation for the Olympics, right? And let's hope. So fingers crossed, not to get political, but fingers crossed they can help out a little bit and change it up out there. But I know the Bay. I mean, Rob, you and me know like some parts of the Bay, they don't really connect to the BART, and right. It makes it completely different of a vibe.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like it's very, very hard to run a tournament like that when you don't have a good infrastructure. And yeah, no, I mean, I don't think it's political at all. It's just like stating facts. Like, we're supposed to have, the world descend upon Los Angeles here and other parts of the country. And I know that Los Angeles at least like makes the pretense at having some public transit. But I know, for example, like one of these Ecuador matches is in Kansas City. And that I know of, there's really no public transit there. I mean, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, in chat. But nah, man, it's awesome to see that you're taking advantage of all that New York has to offer. Hopefully, you found your favorite little bodeguita.
Honestly, I'm gonna tell you this. Maybe I'm ignorant, but the best food I've had out here, and this is y'all gonna laugh at me. People think pizza. People think bagels. I can't get over chicken over rice, bro. Like chicken over rice.
You can't go wrong.
It's so fire. I don't know. Like it's like a better Chipotle, It's like they make you with the salad and everything. It's fire, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man, that makes me happy, dude. I lived in New York for like 6 years, Favi. So I totally know. I get it. You're in. Yep.
And I'm like, they don't have this in the West Coast at all. Like this is pretty fire.
Yeah, no, I've only had it once, and the one time it was when I was in New York as well, man. And yeah, I haven't seen it out here. Pero al grano, an important question for you, and you can refuse to answer if you'd like. But this one, now that you're there in New York, there are two New York teams. Well, so you know where I'm going with this one. So. If you had to, if Thanos was at your throat and he was like, you need to pick NYCFC or New York Red Bulls.
That's a tough one. Because Red Bulls aren't even in New York. They're in Jersey, True. So it's like
Harris.
Yep. You got to pay an $11 ticket on the train to get there, I think, if I haven't been there yet. So, and then, what I noticed too, at least in LA, I mean, LAFC trains a little farther away than their stadium, and then the Galaxy actually train pretty close, they're in their facility, right? But these teams, they don't train anywhere near their stadium. They're like deep in New York or deep in New Jersey. And it's like, no wonder why there's not that many media going to trainings and things like that. You don't see much because it's a trek to get out there. It's probably an hour and a half to get out there. And you got to pay $15 each way or something like that, right? So no, it's kind of wild, and it's making a lot of sense to me. But long answer short, all right. I'm gonna do both if I can say that.
Yeah, man. I mean, you can definitely, yeah, you can definitely go ahead and say so I like things about both teams.
My schedule is actually what's really nice about the East Coast, where we don't really get it on the West Coast, is DC United and Philly and the Revs are actually a train right away on the Amtrak. And so what I kind of did is I made a schedule on all the big matchups. So I'm not going to be at the Red Bulls and NYCFC every weekend. I'll be in like DC. I'll be in Boston. I'll be in Philly, and just kind of covering the big games that are coming in the area. So yeah, I'm not so sure I'm going to just kind of cover those two New York teams. I mean, I can tell you right now, my buddy Justin Ruderman, I can tell you who's he, he's going to cover. But maybe I'll let him come on and tell y'all.
Oh yeah, no, he's due. We've had, he's also a friend of the show, and shout out Justin. I saw you making that move out there as well, and good luck to you as well. I saw you eating some pizza and being in the snow. So yes, Favi's right. You got to jump on, and then you can tell us, who you're going to be covering, man. But no, definitely. You could definitely, just keep it right there. It's fine. But I saw you tweet about how you just moved to the East Coast, but you're gonna have to start making some trips back home because the team that you used to cover on your beat made a host of moves this summer. Some additions, some subtractions, addition by subtractions, including the signing of one TIMO WERNER. Talk to us what you know about this transfer, man, about how it went down, or if it was like one of those things that had been on the cards for like a year, or just kind of came together.
Yeah, look, honestly, this addition by subtraction, I'm gonna go to that first, by Bruce Arena. Maybe one of the craziest sound bites of the offseason, and nobody talking about it. You're talking about a club legend in Espinoza being an addition by subtraction. And then again, Chicho Arango, a guy who's done it in MLS at multiple teams, addition by subtraction. Now, a little weird to me because Bruce brought these guys in, or at least Chicho, right? For it to all, go away, it's odd to me. I think what Bruce kind of talked about in that press conference for TIMO, and I'll get to TIMO in a second, is the youth is gonna reign supreme here in San Jose, and he has big hopes for Nico Sakiris. He has big hopes for Bolaru. A lot of these young players are gonna have really big roles next season.
Good little player,
and it's kind of wild to see. I mean, I don't even know what to think of this team because one, they didn't get better. They didn't get better at defense. Two, they got rid of their like 44 goals, if I'm not mistaken, and then also. They got a guy in TIMO WERNER, but the balls are going to have to go to him, right? And to me, is he a leadership trait? Does he have that dog in him to kind of teach these young guys? Who knows? Maybe he does. But a lot of the press conference was actually pretty shocking, and it is a very long press conference, but it was one of the better press conferences of the offseason. But TIMO kind of said that, hey, Bruce came to Leipzig and he brought PowerPoints and he showed me what San Jose was like. And it was like the Mallorca of the United States. And I was like, is he saying that right now? And I was like, you know what? It could be the Mallorca of the United States. Who knows?
If we make it that way,
And there's Quakes fans already making those like 90s tees saying the Mallorca of the United States.
That's awesome.
Picture on it. But yeah, man, this came out of nowhere, right? It was said that like Bruce, came out once he found out that TIMO was available, he reached out to his representative. So it looks like it just kind of built up pretty heavily in the last couple of months before this happened and got over the line. But yeah, man, I tweeted out this is the Quakes' biggest transfer since George Best. And I truly do think that because as a Quakes fan growing up and as a reporter, you would hear people clamoring, dude, we want one superstar. We want one. Give us just one. And we couldn't ever have one. I mean, we had Wando, we had Chris Wondolowski, but we didn't have any European guys that the LAs had, that the Seattles had, that all these other teams that weren't named San Jose had. And my argument was always, we'll tell someone to point out San Jose on a map, they're going to probably point at Costa Rica, and I hate to say that, but it didn't matter because he had Bruce showing him PowerPoints of San Jose. He probably showed the flea market. He said, Hey, if you need a fake jersey, go to La Pulga. If you need if you need a blanket with a tiger on it, you go to La Pulga. If you want some cheap fruit, you go to La Pulga. You know, so
it's a warm blanket.
yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like, it didn't really matter where San Jose was. He was excited for the opportunity. And, you know, it's kind of like the chicken or the egg, right? How do you get European stars? Okay, you have to be in a big market. Well, how do you be in a big market? Or you have to make money and revenue, right? So, or you have to be in a city where people want to go to. And it's just shocking to me that they finally got a guy, and it's TIMO WERNER. And it has nothing to do with like the demographic. It's not like a Mexican superstar. It's not like a Asian superstar that San Jose would probably have tons of fans coming in for. It's just interesting that it was TIMO WERNER. Hey, you know, it's interesting. It's exciting. I'm going to have to go to some games because you have a European star and you can get a one-on-one pretty easily, you know, so like you might as well take advantage and talk to him. So, but no, it was a good presser. He actually dropped a pretty big tidbit on me that Sun told him about the move to LAFC before anybody knew. And I thought that was pretty shocking. I was like, this man actually is a great friend of Sun. And Sun probably had a lot to do with him coming to MLS. And guys like that, like Sun, Messi, are being spokespeople for the league, and you may not even know it, right? Thomas Mueller is another one. So maybe Lewandowski comes because he talks to Thomas, and it looks good. He talks to Messi, you know. So it's interesting because he didn't go to LAFC, but he went to a rival, and he was still talking applause for his friend and son, right? So no, it's an interesting move, a big one. San Jose gets their European star, the biggest transfer since George Best, and let's see what they put around him.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about exactly that, right? You know, you've talked about TIMO the star and TIMO, you know, the spokesman that, you know, that's been maybe going to espouse this league for other people. Let's talk about TIMO the player. So what does he bring to this team as it's currently constructed? I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe you know a little bit more if San Jose is gonna keep adding or subtracting and adding by that way. But you know, where does TIMO fit in? You know, you said with, you know, how do they put people around him or with the people around him? What would you say?
Yeah, he talked about being a second striker a lot, I would say, like a lot in that press conference. Like, I am a second striker. I play off of another striker. Like, I need to be put around another striker, basically. And at the moment, they really only have Paul Judd, a guy you guys know very well, you know. So my whole thing is, do they go ahead and they bring in a guy? I know Bruce said he's looking at bringing 1 to 2 more guys possibly in this kind of transfer window. Are they going to bring in a striker to help him, or is Judd going to be the full-on starter for this team? Which is, I mean, the guy's scored good goals in the past, but it would be a little bit much to kind of expect him to kind of take that position of their striker, especially since you had very prolific strikers last year. I think that would be a lot of kind of stress and a lot on his shoulders. But, yeah, you have to find guys that can feed TIMO. I mean, I think you're gonna have to look at him very similar to like a Wando. Like, he can't be your 9. He could be somewhat of a 10 hybrid, and then you're gonna have to get some wingers that can get him some balls or some ricochets or something in the box, and maybe he can make something work. Now, where he was not playing at Leipzig, he talked about a bit too. It was something where, what if I came into training every day and showed my worth, and if I was going ahead and doing my best, maybe he'll start me. And the coach just didn't find any value in him. And he took some time off because of that. You know, no matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't break that squad. And hopefully that doesn't continue into San Jose. I mean, they're going to need to play him. But I truly think this is a situation where the Quakes don't have nothing much to lose, to be honest. Like, you might as well do it. I mean, the fan base hates you because you got rid of their club legend in Espinoza. But hey, maybe this is a step in the right direction, but you need to bring some pieces around it.
You were talking about Espinoza, right? And this is a wild story if this is true, but apparently, San Jose just let his contract lapse or something like that, or like they didn't,
This is tough for me because this is where I put my tinfoil hat on. Like, the guy has the most assists career-wise for the Earthquakes. You don't think there's an email reminder that his contract is up? Like,
you would think so.
This guy, they made a mural for him in the Bay Area. You don't think they have a reminder for his contract somewhere? I mean, I don't have any insight on this because this is something that is with the GM and everything, but how would you get rid of a club legend with letting him go, effortlessly into the sunset, into the horizon, without making it look like maybe he wanted out, without the fan base hating him? It truly brings up a lot of questions. I mean, Chris Leach saw the writing on the door with not making the playoffs. Maybe he's like, Espinoza, you've been great to me. Let me do one big favor for you, But so the fan base doesn't turn on you if you want to go to a contender, right? It's just interesting to me. I don't buy that story, unfortunately. I mean, it's probably bad practice for me to say that, because it was a story and everything, but I find it so hard in 2026. I could tell you the next UFC fight four cards down the road, but we can't remind our GM to set a reminder for Espinoza's contract renewal. And no, it's hard for me to believe that.
So you think this is just one of those MLS urban legends here? It's
just too shocking to me for a man to admit that without being on the way out.
Yeah. No. I mean, you definitely could be onto something. I mean, we were calling, what do these stories line up when we got the whole Ricky scoop, and what led to his re-injury. But let's talk about TIMO again really quick. Is this the signing you would have made?
Look, if I was a GM and I had an opportunity to bring in a guy possibly as a project and maybe you get the best out of him, yeah, I think the Earthquakes would be a location and a place where you could take this type of risk. Now, LAFC, can you take this risk? The Galaxy, can you take this risk? No, you can't, unfortunately. You don't want to waste your contract buyout on a DP that you brought in. So you might as well, in the Galaxy case, overpay for a DP that's on an expiring contract, because it's more proven in this league, right? Instead of biting the bullet on a 3-year deal, because he's gonna want more years than one. And if you're the Earthquakes, I think this is something you can do. Now, if you're another team, I don't think you can.
Damn. Cuéntanos de Chicho. ¿Qué pasó con él?
Yeah, that's a weird one, man. A week ago, he was saying he's ready for the project. He's re-signing with the Quakes. They did a whole little graphic for him. And then the next week, he's on loan and with the purchase option to Atlético Nacional. Yeah, in Colombia. Yeah. So, I mean, his boyhood club, his dream club. So all the best to him. But that's a weird one. I mean, and then you have Bruce Arena saying addition by subtraction. So there was definitely some riff there. Mikey Vara, Chucky Lozano-esque in that locker room.
Ooh. Yep. Yeah, yep. No, I saw those comments by Bruce and I was like, oh, damn, Bruce. Like, damn, okay, tell us how you really feel. Okay, well, addition by subtraction, right? We all heard the famous soundbite now, right? But what will this Werner-led team without the above players look like? I mean, will they have the attacking power? I mean,
it will be TIMO Werner and the boys. Like it will be. That's what it's going to be. TIMO Werner and the Rat Pack.
Yeah, y'all heard it first, man. Well, as much as it is TIMO Werner and the boys, he's still, like you said, the Quakes' big star. They landed a big fish finally, and the Galaxy landed some solid reinforcements as well. So, people out there can agree. They had a decent window, but I think everyone can agree that Inter Miami has won the window so far. What's your take on Inter Miami and their seemingly unending quest to become the first super team in MLS?
Yeah, look, this is what I've been talking about. I have an MBA in Inter Miami finances at this point. I mean, I'm on every podcast explaining how they're doing it, and it's actually pretty interesting to me, honestly. It's a little more obvious, I think, but it's hard. I understand with all the roster mechanisms. Inter Miami has done a great job of getting at the most possible GAM for every single role player. That means Robert Taylor. That means DeAndre Yedlin. That means Drake Callender, even Diego Gomez. All these guys that went out, they were able to convert it into some sort of GAM, and that's GAM in 1 year and GAM in another year, right? So think about all that GAM that they were able to get from that. That goes into your pot this year. Now, the only one that I think is fishy. Now, for cash transfers are a blessing to this league because you can, if it's a U22, you can spend as much money as you want, right? So for a guy like Ayala, they spend as much as they want in a cash transfer. They didn't touch their GAM, and they were able to pay that man whatever he wants for an expiring contract. So it truly is like a Joao Klauss kind of move, and they're hoping that he will sign with them next season for maybe, a little less or something where they can work with. A guy like Betarame, that's easy. DP, $18 million, boom.
Yeah.
Set and forget, he's there, right? That's their third DP. Tadeo Allende is the interesting one, right? A lot of people think if the transfer is $4 million, he gets paid a certain salary that he was getting last year, then he would technically be a DP, okay? You can use that money that you got in GAM to buy him down to a TAM player. He can take a pay cut, but the transfer still is into his salary, and it still needs to either be bought down in GAM, or he took such a massive pay cut that it still is a TAM player, even with the transfer fee included. Now, maybe this is a case where Tadeo Allende went to his club and he was like, I want to play in Miami. So they didn't have much leverage. They didn't have any other suitors. So maybe they sold him on a cheap to Miami because their player that played there is happy and they want to do right with their player, right? And also Miami might have some players in the future that they might want to buy. So it's all good business, in good faith business. Tadeo Allende is a very interesting case of a player that's choosing MLS as his priority. I mean, the guy is an MLS history maker. He has the most goals in an MLS playoffs.
Yeah, basically.
And now he's getting 90 to 150 people lining up for his autograph at Dick's Sporting Goods. That man does not have that in Spain. Of course he wants to be at the place where he feels loved. Of course he wants to keep playing with Lionel Messi. And if you keep that in mind, I think any person would take a pay cut to feel the fanfare and the love from the fan base that you just won an MLS Cup with, play with Messi, and to be in Miami. I think you can talk about a pay cut there. And unfortunately, Cincinnati, Columbus, DC, they don't get that darling discount, They don't. It's not that easy of a sell for those. San Jose with TIMO WERNER, right? They don't get that darling discount. But I love that video where there's 80 to 100 people lining up to get Tadeo Allende's autograph, because to me that shows that MLS is growing, and it's not just growing with superstars like Messi and Ricky Puig and Son. MLS is creating superstars. They're creating Denis Bouanga's, Cucho Hernandez's, Puig a little bit too. Also Tadeo Allende's. And that's what lets me know that this league is growing. And I think they're having a great offseason, Inter Miami. I think they're doing whatever they can in their power to kind of make this super team. But this happens in all sports. Look at the Dodgers. Look at the Patriots. Look at look at all these teams where their players take pay cuts to play for an organization that wants to win trophies. It happens. Dane St. Clair choosing a lot less money to be not in -3 degrees. And I hate to say it. Who wouldn't want to be in Miami?
Yeah.
Beautiful
city.
I mean, and even like
Lex was talking about no taxes in chat.
I'm sure that's part of it. Yeah,
definitely, it's a part of it. Like Minnesota can offer more. I think it was maybe 10 to 20%. Don't quote me on that, but I do know it. They were able to offer more. But when you add taxes into that, is it really more? Right? Like you don't think he's going to get a whole bunch of influx of followers on all of his social medias, brand deals, like there's so many more things that he can do in Miami playing on Inter Miami than he could in Minnesota, unfortunately. And that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of MLS fans because you want to think of parity. You want to think of every team has the chance to land every single superstar, but that's not the reality of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not. I mean, you're not lying. Now that you see guys like Allende come to Miami and take that pay cut, and it doesn't even seem like they're going with the old model of buying the older experienced European star. It looks like they're retooled with young South American ballers and workhorses around Messi, right? So they already won MLS Cup. The next goal is CONCACAF Champions Cup. Do you see them now as being possibly the strongest team on the continent and maybe having a legitimate shot at this tournament?
The CONCACAF Champions Cup is the hardest tournament. I mean, everybody knows that. That is the pinnacle of CONCACAF soccer. And it's almost like MLS teams are playing with the hand behind their back with their roster rules. I mean, there is teams that have won it in the past, the Galaxy, the Sounders. There is teams that have done it. Now, crazy, massive underdog stories because nowadays these Liga MX teams, they have 17 DPs on their team. And we only have 3, right? Yeah. So it's something that it's a daunting task. But the way Miami is doing it, I think they have a good chance. I think they have spent their money in the best possible ways for their DPs. With Betarame coming in, that's a proven CONCACAF goal scorer. I mean, that's going to come up so big when you're going to Estadio Azteca. It's going to prove so big when you have to go play in Monterrey. Because it's something
done that
week in, week out, right? So, no, it's going to be a great CONCACAF Champions Cup. I truly think it's going to be a fun one, and I think Miami has a good chance this time.
Well, if it's not the Galaxy, hopefully it's another MLS team. We talked about San Jose losing a few big names. You mentioned Bouanga a little bit earlier. There are rumblings that LAFC is perhaps set to lose Denis Bouanga, their biggest fish that is not named Sonny. It's reported that Fluminense is testing LAFC's resolve with a $15 million offer. Earlier in the year, LAFC reportedly turned down offers from Copa America, and then they also reportedly turned down a $13 million offer from Miami. And Denny also retweeted something that could also be interpreted as him wanting to leave, and now Fluminense is sniffing around. So, Favi, if Denny were to go, how does that change the balance of power in the West?
So, look, I know everybody here knows that Denny loves to do this. This is the Denny move. Denny loves to go on social media and like some tweets and retweet some things and stir up some talk about Denis Bouanga. And I think he's one of the best to do it, to be honest. I mean, he doesn't say many words, but when it comes to making the fan base go crazy that he's liking some things, it happens pretty fast. I think Denis is a superstar in this league, and I think Denis is honestly a face of this league. And I think this league needs to keep him. I think this league is better with him. I mean, the whole Bouanga-Son partnership, brotherhood thing, friendship is such a good story and such a friendly kind of thing that brings a whole bunch of eyes to the league and to Bouanga, that I find it hard to think that he's leaving unless a bigger offer than America's last year comes in. I think you have to, the price is set at 20 mil plus. There's no way Bouanga leaves for less than that. I think he deserves that. I think this guy has been a proven goal scorer. I mean, one of the best goal scorers in the world. I think a year or two ago in the calendar year, he was up there with Ronaldo, and Ronaldo was scoring goals in the Saudi league. And he had almost just as much in this league. So it's interesting. I mean, Bouanga is a certified goal scorer, but this whole trend of like, it's happened in this last week, which is so odd to me. All these MLS superstars getting these offers from these Brazilian teams,
right,
or just teams that are coming in like for Denki, like 35 million, or Evander 25 million. It's crazy to think all this funny money is being thrown around, and a lot of these are Brazilian clubs. I mean, Brazil is just getting an influx of dollars signed to their transfers, and they're looking at one place that's, in my opinion, a little undervalued sometimes. I think they're going to go ahead and look at MLS because it could be maybe a bargain bin place. And a guy like Bouanga, I think, would do a pretty good job in Brazil. He would definitely get a pay increase, but I think it would be a very, very sad loss for the league. Now, this is where I think LAFC might think of this. At the end of the World Cup, we're going to get a transfer window like no other. You're going to get a transfer window that all these players that have never possibly thought about MLS as an option are going to be thinking MLS as an option. This World Cup is such a good showcase for the league to show off all their facilities to all these players that are going to be here in the States. So if you're a team like Chicago, if you're a team like LAFC, 100% you are pitching your facilities to these players. You're talking to players that you never would have thought of. At the end of the day, this is a business. This is business connections that you make on a daily basis. This is a LinkedIn message away from playing in MLS, right? No, but like in all seriousness, after this World Cup, we're going to see players wanting to move here. And I think a team like LAFC may want to leave the door open to possibly having a DP Slaughter 2 open. And I think if you can move off of Denny at his peak, 20 million, 22 million, and then you leave that spot open for Griezmann to come after the World Cup, I think that can be very, very enticing for LAFC. And this is the truth and the reality of MLS. A lot of teams kind of punt the first part of the season, and they hope to turn it on when they can at the beginning of the transfer window so they can make a playoff spot. And sometimes it works very well. Like for example, Orlando had some crazy seasons where they did that. Or it can work like the Galaxy, where unfortunately they just came up short last year, where they couldn't, really get out of that funk at the end of the year. So
that's being kind.
Yeah. And I think it's an interesting kind of idea. I think if the right offer comes in for Bouanga or for Evander or for Denki even, man, I could see a team moving off of them because of the transfer window that's coming. And that's the only reason why.
Yeah, and as an organization, you have to sell high and buy low, right? Because there's been a lot of situations where it's been the other way around. So yeah, I agree with you, man. I think it sets up for a very interesting. I mean, even I was just thinking as we were talking about this, Rob, like, is that why we have Nacimiento's loan for just 6 months? Maybe there's some other U22 starlets that come out of that World Cup that's now approachable for the Galaxy. So I'm sure Will Kuntz is thinking about that even from a flexibility, and from Thornton and LAFC's perspective, I'm sure they're thinking about the same thing. It's super interesting, man.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at some of the gun-shy teams across the league. I mean, a lot of teams are sitting on a lot of GAM, and I think no team doesn't want to be flexible with this next transfer window coming up. You're going to see teams like San Jose get guys like TIMO WERNER because, maybe they can't get other guys, so they're just going to take a chance on TIMO. But other teams that could get other guys, man, I could see them 100% making some moves. Like, for example, the USMNT guys who want to go to Europe, Max Arvston, Diego Luna, I don't think they're staying past this World Cup. I think once that summer window opens, they're gone, and Columbus is looking to bring in someone from the World Cup, and the same thing goes for RSL. So you're gonna see a lot of new faces of this league when that summer transfer window is over.
Yeah, it's interesting. I heard a crazy rumor that attached to Chicho that Diego Luna was supposed to actually get a move to Club America, but because Chicho ended up leaving, just all of a sudden his move crashed. So I know he's been trying to get out of MLS for a while. Over to Diego Luna. Also, a G ran into him at the airport, and the G reportedly yelled at him, "Come to the Galaxy," and he said, "Give me the bag and I'll go." So keeping it real. Yeah, keeping it real, man. We'll get back to MLS talk in a moment, but for the people who might not have caught you on this podcast before, you've been with us a couple times. So if you guys haven't caught him before, this like I said, this man knows ball. But for those first timers, please drop your socials, where they can find you, and then most importantly, tell us what projects you're currently up to. I know that we want to hear all about Kickbase, man.
Yeah. You can follow me at Favi Renkel, or on Instagram, I am Favi Renkel. I'm in the middle of a podcast tour. This is, I believe, podcast number 5 out of, I hope, 50. We have 25 lined up already. Yeah, so we're doing something that I don't think anybody's ever done. I mean, it's an MLS podcast tour before the season. Definitely look forward to my other shows, and maybe I'll be back on this one for number 50. Who knows? But we'll see. But yeah, I'm doing that. So hey, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. But yeah, no, Kickbase is the new project I'm on board with. I moved to New York for this. I'm super excited to announce that we will announce something later this week. I was like, just yet. But I came out to New York for a reason, and I think if you're a soccer fan in the U.S., you're going to be excited. You're going to be so excited, and I can't wait to share what we're working on out there or out here in Brooklyn, close to the hub of soccer this next year. So, no, I'm definitely super excited. If you're listening to this podcast, you're definitely going to want to know what Kickbase is all about later this week, and we're hoping to talk more about soccer for the next coming years. So. Excited.
Yeah, no, man. We said it at the top when we were introducing you, man. Like it's since I've known you, you've been trying to just get the game out there. So I can't wait to see what you do with Kickbase. And honestly, Anana, can you flash that picture again, man?
Yes, sir.
I want to buy this mixtape right here. whichever album cover this is
that the cover on the new vinyl drop?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Special edition gray vinyl. Get it now.
Exactly, y'all.
We got to get some Tims in that picture. This one up. You gotta get the full one with the Tims. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Let me just say the Tims will be in some videos this week, so don't worry. We got that coming.
So well, at least we have the exclusive on that. The Tims will be featured.
Yes.
Did you guys see the new New York City FC mascot?
La Palomita, yes. Sky.
Tims. That's me.
Oh man, I just remember that old Dave Chappelle
skyscraper.
Skyscraper, right? Yeah. No, I liked the announcement too. The announcement was really cute. Guys, you heard where you can find Favi. He's out there doing big things, and he does have an announcement coming up. So go ahead and hook up with his socials. Go ahead and make sure to like and follow. And then, of course, I've mentioned the magazine a couple times. Some of the most stunning photographs of MLS games that you'll see, and some exclusive photographs of players that we've mentioned on this podcast, like Arango and Royce and stuff like that. So go ahead and check that one out. If you're here, thank you. First off, we do appreciate it. Go ahead and like and subscribe. We would love you forever. Ananda will take a shot with you. I promise. And then you know what? If this is your first time, go ahead and give us another try on another occasion. We'll make sure and entertain you that day as well. Favi, we've talked to a lot of people on this pod about the Galaxy's fortunes. You kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier. You were very nice and diplomatic about it. Not as nice and diplomatic as Ananda and I have been, but because it's the truth. I mean, we cover this team and they just had a historically bad season last year. But they've made signings in this offseason that give some in the fan base hope. Do you think with the signings that they've made, do you think they're on the right track?
Yeah, look, I actually love the center back pair that you guys brought in. I even think you could, possibly go with 3 in the back, something interesting. I think you can change it up a little bit. I'm still on the, I'm not totally out with Garces. I think he could have a place on this team. Yoshida as well. I think you have enough center backs now to be very flexible. So I do love these 2 additions that the Galaxy did. Glesnes is a great get. I mean, Glesnes is an MLS best defender for how many years? And then Hack is kind of on a prove it deal. So I like that too. So no, I think these 2 transfers, and if Ricky was supposed to come back, man, I'd hate to say this, but the Galaxy would have been a favorite for the West. I do think that if everybody was healthy and if everybody was firing on all cylinders, the Galaxy were going to look completely different. I know it's so sad to kind of look at these pictures of Ricky and think, man, what could have been? The perfect villain or hero, whatever you want to say about him for the league, but the league is not the same without him. And it hurts me to think that this team could have been a true contender with him, but I still think they're going to be very good, and maybe they can shock some people in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and the internet and X and Galaxy Twitter is not the same without Iki Pooch.
No. But you, Pinchy, and you picked the saddest effing picture, like with like.
This is my favorite. This is my favorite picture. I want to say, if I might be wrong about this, but I want to say this was taken during the Western Conference Final. I want to say that, which is even more like it's cryptic, right? In a way, it's so weird. But this is a beautiful picture. It just captures just so much like emotion just in one picture. Super.
I guess
that's why I keep this one.
Yeah, no, I guess perspective because right now it's pretty damn sad. But we do have a super chat, and I think we had another super chat earlier from the brother GCam. Thank you so much. I think he was hitting us up with an operatic Tuyo. Thank you so much for that one. We do have another super chat from the homie Lex saying define realistic success for the LA Galaxy this season. We'll kick it over to you, Bobby, for that one. They didn't make the playoffs last year. So is success as easy as making the playoffs, or what do you think?
Look, success for the Galaxy has always been silverware. And I hate to say it, but the bar is set because you guys are one of the best organizations in MLS, whether people agree or not. And since they didn't make the playoffs last season, I think a safe bet is the U.S. Open Cup. I think if you can lift the U.S. Open Cup, that's another trophy in the cabinet. And I think that would be something that all fans would be happy with in this season. Now, CONCACAF Champions Cup is something I think if you have a good showing in that tournament, I think that could be successful for the season. But I think with the Galaxy, silverware is king. So for me, if you guys lift the U.S. Open Cup, which is very, very possible, I think that is something to be pretty proud of.
Chat is reminding us that unfortunately the Galaxy is not in the U.S. Open Cup this year. They are only in the CONCACAF Champions Cup.
CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Yeah, so that's the only trophy that they have a shot at besides MLS Cup this year.
They're in the League Cup?
No, not even the Leagues Cup.
Not even the Leagues Cup.
You know those funny rules about the if you play one tournament, you can't play the other tournament, and then you can't play a certain amount of games as well. So yeah, because they're in the Champions Cup, they're not in the U.S. Open Cup, which I think is a travesty because I love the U.S. Open Cup, and it's high time that the Galaxy take it seriously again. But
My
yeah,
apologies, guys. I really thought if they didn't make the playoffs, but I guess, man,
Yeah,
who
it's
was the
weird, right?
Champions Cup
Had-
last year who
had,
wasn't
had they not made the Champions Cup, I think they would have gone into the U.S. Open Cup.
Correct.
But they won that third place game against Orlando.
Yeah. My apologies, guys. No,
No, good, man.
Yeah, you're good.
No, good.
But it's still silverware. I agree, and I think CCC is going to be really tough. I mean, we can't slip on a banana peel the first 2 rounds, and then we'll see where it goes from there, because that side of the bracket's not easy, depending on what Mexican team comes out that we have to face in the quarterfinals. So those are never easy. But let's get over the first 2 rounds, and then we'll see. And this is probably why too Will Kuntz is pulling the trigger on so many of these moves early this winter or early this offseason, is to get this team roster ready. 4 games in 9 days in the first week of the season. That's going to be brutal, right? So this roster has to be ready.
I want to go back to something that Favi said, though.
So
right?
wait, hold up. So Miami is not in the League's Cup? That doesn't make sense then.
I don't know.
Because last year Miami was in League's Cup and they were in CONCACAF.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works, Favi.
And then they were in the Club World Cup too.
Yeah, no. To be honest, I'm not sure how that works.
That's why I'm shocked. I'm like,
yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, no. I wish we had like a definitive answer on that one. But yeah, no, I'm not sure how that works, because you're very right. Miami participated in multiple tournaments last year, but yeah, for whatever reason, the Galaxy don't get that. I just
don't even bother with MLS rules. I'm like, oh, you know what, you guys go check out Josh, Corner of the Galaxy, and other smarter people than me for sure on MLS rules, like when it comes to GAM and funny money and jam and all that stuff. So yeah, I just leave it to the experts.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure on that one, man. But no,
because Vancouver was in the Canadian Cup and in CONCACAF. That's like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
you know, who knows what's in Don Garber's mind? This guy, you know, but besides trying to take over the world, like Pinky in the Brain, do you guys think that you know, because we were talking about Lex's question about the you know, what success looks like.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that the Galaxy is judged to a different standard than everybody else in the league, just because, you know, that they're the Galaxy and they have that name power?
So before we go on this, let me say this too. LAFC went to CONCACAF, Club World Cup, Leagues Cup last year.
And the Club World Cup.
Yeah. So 3 things. That makes zero sense why the Galaxy aren't in the U.S. Open Cup.
I agree. I would love for them to be in that tournament. Yeah. Who knows the powers? Yeah, no. Who knows the powers that be was like?
Yeah.
No. And the powers that be in this case is, you know, Don Garber in the league. But yeah, no, that's wild, right?
Yeah. That is wild. But like you said, the powers that be, man. I don't get these weird, like,
arbitrary rules.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, arbitrary money, arbitrary rules. You know, it is what it is. But hopefully, when the schedule change and all that stuff happens in a couple of years, there's more light that comes to these things. But Rob, I don't know, to answer your question, like, it's funny. Lex brought up something in chat that's super interesting about the irrelevance of the Galaxy. I think if you asked, like, not even OG, but like any Galaxy fan, I think you're right. I think like the bar is set with trophies, right? But I think it's almost like we've readjusted what that bar is with the last decade, you know, under the previous regime, Rob. And so I think some fans are probably like, maybe it's like setting the bar low, not to like let us down necessarily. Like, we know though, as an organization, like trophies should be the standard, but perhaps like there's just too much PTSD with the lack of success over the last 10 years that we may have like lowered that bar, right? And it's like, okay, let's make sure we're a playoff team. Let's make sure we're a top team in the Western Conference and yada yada, right? So, but the other thing too is like teams like Inter Miami and like other LA, even our noisy neighbors. Like, MLS is very different now than what it was 10 years ago, and there's a lot of teams showing ambition. right? And I think part of this too is the fact that the noisy neighbors are consistently good every year. So it puts even that much more pressure on the Galaxy to compete year over year. And you couldn't say that, before Will Kuntz stepped in about this chance of competing. I mean, even look, last year we weren't even competing either, right? Team got decimated, etc. So I think it's a tricky answer to, depending on who you ask, Rob, but I think it should be. I think it should be is the answer.
They should be judged by another channel.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is the last thing I'm going to say on this. This is the first time I've ever seen a team or a club get shafted like that. Where
no. That's continual for the Galaxy.
Bobby's still on being a lawyer about this, man.
No,
I'm presenting a case for the Galaxy.
Like, they're not on either one. That makes zero sense to the rules that have been in place about this, either one tournament or the other. So that's why I'm kind of shocked right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, it made zero sense to us when the ruling came down, because you're right. I mean, multiple teams played in multiple tournaments last year. One is seemingly in a different part of the season than the other. I mean, they're in the Champions Cup, but that'll be here earlier in the season. I mean, it doesn't make sense. But we had Potter in chat saying all MLS clubs should be in the longest competition in USA and needs the respect. I agree. I mean, this competition is the oldest competition in the US, and Favi's disbelief is because it makes no effing sense that
this is the first time not the first time, but this looks a little bit like, what's going on here? Like this there's no rule for this.
Yeah, no, there is no rule, but what, the Galaxy usually are at the end of that, like, wait a second, what is happening? There's no rule for this. That's usually where the Galaxy find themselves on the end of. Favi, we want to talk to you about Klauss, right? Yeah. He's basically the Galaxy's new DP. You've kind of talked about it already, how they might have overpaid a little bit, because of that expiring contract, but they also brought in Jakub Glesnes, Justin Hack, that you already talked about. They re-signed on loan Matheus Nascimento, extended John Nelson, brought in Joao Klauss and Erik Thommy. Are these moves making LA at least a playoff team, or would you even venture to say a top contender in the West again?
I think these moves make the Galaxy a playoff team. Expecting Joao Klauss to put up double-digit goals is a tough thing. I think we forget he hasn't ever been that prolific goal scorer that I think the Galaxy are going to need without, Ricky kind of pulling all those strings. Or maybe Joao can get some assists while Peck and Paintsel kind of, shoot up those sides while he's holding up the ball. So I just think it's a lot to ask for a guy who hasn't been able to do it yet. And I think it's a good shout. I think it's a good opportunity, a good try, but I'm not so confident that it's going to work out in the way that Galaxy fans want. So when Galaxy fans are going to see his price tag DP, I think they're going to be like, oh, unless they know what's going on and they've listened to a podcast or two, I think they're going to be a little shell-shocked at this guy as your DP. Now, as a TAM player, maybe next year, I love it. I think he's great. I think he's good depth. But, yeah, I think it's a bit of an overpaid now. If he can get 10 to 12 goals, I think it's a win. But he's never been able to really do that, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yeah, no, our colleague Justin Ruderman actually pointed that out in a tweet the other day, that Klauss has never scored over 10 goals in an MLS season. So you think that should be the Galaxy's main worry for this new DP signing then?
The Galaxy needs a striker, right? And that's the issue. And Klauss does good hold-up play. Maybe Peck and Paintsel can kind of play off of that better. Maybe he can create some space for them. But he's going to need to score some goals too, and I haven't seen that from him yet to where I'm confident that he's going to be a Golden Boot contender. I think this is a guy who I don't want to. Rob, maybe you know this guy, Quincy Amarikwa, was great at holding the ball up, and he was good for a goal or two. I don't want to say this is a Quincy Amarikwa premium, but it gives me a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah, no. Hopefully, it's not a Quincy premium.
Well, I was gonna say, Favi, do you think maybe some Galaxy fans are saying, well, maybe in a system that's a little bit more possession based, that maybe will feed Joao Klauss a little bit more. You've got guys like Peck and Paintel that will allow him the space to maneuver and get his shot out. We know he has a good shot on him. Do you think that's lends itself to maybe increasing that tally and being more assured that he'll get that 10 to 15 versus a St. Louis team? Let's face it, after the first year, they've been really struggling in the depths of the Western Conference. Do you think that's going to play to his favor?
Yeah, look, I think Galaxy fans know this better than anybody, but confidence plays a huge role. I mean, if you're out of the race, I don't want to say it, but a lot of guys, it's tough to go into work and knowing that you whatever you do is not going to really affect the outcome of what the team is. And that takes a toll on a normal person, that takes a toll on having to find it within yourself every single day. Yeah, I would say that he would have a better chance at doing that with the Galaxy. I mean, if you're Joao Klauss, you're thinking this team's a contender. I mean, I'm here to win a trophy. I'm here to fill the role of a DP, and I'm here to fill the best I can, right? So that we can lift something at the end of all of this. And I think with Glesnes and Hack, that just proves that you're on a team that wants to win and win now. So, yes, I think the Galaxy give him a lot more confidence to score those 10 to 15 goals rather than being on St. Louis. And I think they have a lot more pace on this Galaxy team than they did with St. Louis. I think Peck and Paintel are, top 5 in terms of best wingers in the league. So as a duo, so I definitely think they're going to have opportunities and they're going to have a lot of space. Joao's going to have a lot of space to work in.
Yep. Favi, we're going to ask you about the next signing that came for the Galaxy after Klauss, right? Klauss was pretty much well known. Tommy Bogert had reported on that. But the next one, the Erik Thommy signing, came out of nowhere. And then, mind you, we're going to talk about Tommy, and then we're going to play a little game. But the Tommy signing comes out of nowhere, like literally no news at all. Didn't even give us time to speculate, and it comes down that the Galaxy sign him. What do you like about this signing, or dislike possibly?
Yeah, honestly, this signing comes out of nowhere. I think this is a signing where you get some extra depth. I think this is something where you needed someone to fill that role. If Royce or the playmaker can't truly kind of do what he wants to, or maybe he's out injured, or I think this is a nice depth piece for the Galaxy. Doesn't really push the needle too much, but I think you're going to bring in an MLS guy who already knows the league. Maybe didn't really turn too many heads in Sporting Kansas City, but possibly with the new life here, he can be very similar to like a Diego Fagundes, I would think. Like maybe he puts his heart and soul into the Galaxy and he comes in possibly a little cheaper than Fagundes. I think this is kind of like that like for like, in my opinion, because Kuntz kind of talked about Fagundes and then he's like, yeah, we talked to him, but then didn't talk to him. I talked to his dad and didn't talk to him. Yeah.
No.
So maybe the asking price was a little too much or the personalities clashed, but I think this is your replacement.
Yeah, and it's funny because we do have Brother Lex there in chat, and you mentioned Diego, and the numbers on Tommy are much better efficiency than Diego. And boy, we love Diego, but I mean, if you're just looking at that soccer's business and you're trying to get better, then Tommy, at least on paper, looks to go ahead and improve the team. Favi, I mentioned we're going to play a game, and this one's called Golazo o Tarjeta Amarilla. All right, so you can say Golazo or Tarjeta Amarilla to these statements, right? Golazo obviously means you agree. Yellow card obviously means you disagree. So Golazo or Tarjeta. The Galaxy will be able to replace Ricky Puig through the committee of players that they've signed this offseason.
Tarjeta roja. I don't believe so. I think Ricky brings something to this team that just bleeds confidence. I think that confidence is the toughest thing to replace. I mean, I don't think anybody thinks as well of themselves as Ricky Puig does. And I love that. I love the oozing confidence. I think he's a unique player. He's a one-of-a-kind player. And I think you can't just replace that with a platoon of guys. He's almost like Zlatan light to me. I think he's very, very villain-esque, and I think there's a bravado that type of player brings to a team, and I think that's hard to replace.
Yeah.
The Galaxy should rebuild completely instead of just retooling like they are doing at the moment. Golazo or tarjeta?
Roja. I think they have a good base. I think this team, I think last year was a fluke, to be honest. I don't think that they were probably one of the most unluckiest teams at the start of the season. I think Greg Vanney can go ahead and try something a little different this year with all the center backs. And I think the Galaxy shouldn't rebuild. I think if you sell Paintsel and Peck, maybe we think about it a little bit, you know, and if Puig never comes back, then you definitely have to think about it. But for now, I wouldn't do a rebuild. At least for Will Kuntz's era, if let's say it goes south, Will Kuntz is out, I think you give the new GM a clean slate.
Next one, Golazo o tarjeta. The Galaxy are closer to a title than people may think.
Now that they're not in the U.S. Open Cup, I would say tarjeta amarilla. I think it's gonna. Man, you can't replace Ricky. I really like Ricky. I was one of his biggest fans. Even my son was out here doing Ricky Puig celebrations. So
nice.
I mean, he's something else when it comes to being confident, and I just, he'll be missed for sure.
Yeah.
Next one here for you. We got a couple more. The Galaxy still scare teams, even when they're inconsistent.
The Galaxy still scare teams, even if they're not doing well, or
yeah, even when they're inconsistent. Just that Galaxy name.
Golazo. I think the Galaxy deserve to be respected, because this is MLS. They can have an off year and then they can have a good year the next. I mean, that lightning in a bottle season with MLS Cup, that was something that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All righty. The Galaxy will send several All-Stars to the All-Star game.
That's a good question. Golazo, because Messi and friends will not go.
Like we skipped this game.
They will pull out, and then Buanga will be sold, Evander will be sold, and the Galaxy will be like, "Well, we have Peck and Paintsel. You want them?
Go ahead and send them. Go ahead."
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well, even Justin Hack, man, I think he's going to be a stud this year.
Yeah,
I think
he's going to be good, man. I think he's going to be deceptively good. I think the ceiling on Hack is high. Last one for Golazo or tarjeta. The Galaxy will win MLS Cup in the next 3 years.
Oof. That's a tough one. Ooh, that's real tough. Because the Galaxy can get someone.
Yeah.
That's why
you got these windows coming up and stuff.
Yeah. Like if you want to pull the plug on Ricky after his maybe you sign him to like a TAM or something and you bring in a DP star, I could see it working very well.
But it's also like I think, Favi, you have to consider, like, is Messi still in the league in those 3 years?
And Son too, yeah.
That's or who else might be
right. But I'm gonna say Golazo. I'm gonna let the Galaxy fans feel something.
See, Galaxy fans.
Well played.
The homie Favi being very generous with you guys and letting you guys get off the last Golazo o tarjeta with the dub right there. Favi, we have just one or two more for you, man. We know it's late over there, so we're gonna let you go, bro. But you've mentioned a couple times you can't replace Ricky. You love Ricky. I mean, I love Ricky. I mean, we've dubbed him the prince who was promised on this podcast, right? So he's obviously not gonna be here this year, and the Galaxy, it's kind of up in the air whether they're signing anybody else. It's open to interpretation if anybody else is incoming or not. They certainly have a little bit of money to play with, but not a ton. But if there is not another signing incoming, have the Galaxy done enough? I mean, you mentioned they are a playoff team, but have they done enough to pacify these fans who were hoping for a big home run signing in Ricky's absence?
I don't think they needed that big home run signing, to be honest. I think with Ricky, you don't want to say we completely moved on by bringing in another guy, because at the end of the day, you hope that Ricky can come back and lead this team once more. Right. And on a personal level, you probably, you're wishing for him to fully recover and to be that player he was, which is really hard. So I don't think you do it just yet. And I think that I probably would have done something that Will Kuntz did, maybe bring in a guy for a year, overpay a little bit, and then possibly add him as a rotational piece, and then you get Ricky back, and maybe Peck or Paintsel gets sold, and then you have a little more flexibility there. But this team is still going to be built around Ricky. And I think with the additions, like if they got these additions and Ricky was healthy, this team looked nasty, right?
Yeah, so they'd be sick.
So I don't think it's so unfortunate because I don't think you needed that, and it's like, Ricky is a very emotional player too, right? What if you brought in a guy that would replace him? And I don't think he would like that too much. And maybe the recovery is hurt,
Yeah. Well, imagine if you brought in like we were banding around, on the show, like Favi, like a Gio Reyna or Weston McKennie, right. Like a player of that stature. How would that
we or you?
No. You for Gio Reyna, me for Weston. Let's make that clear.
What was it?
But like a player of that stature, and that's something I brought up in the show. Like, how does that, especially Ricky, his bravado, his personality, like how would that make him feel? And then in turn, how would that make the locker room feel?
Right.
Because even Joe and Gabe, Joe and Gabe are like, am I still want to be in this team next year? Are they going to ask me? Am I playing for another contract? Like those things start creeping in. So I agree with you.
Yeah. I think this is a weird year, man. This is a weird year with the World Cup. You want flexibility afterwards. You don't want to buy in. It just didn't make sense to me to buy into a guy right now. At least it just doesn't. Yeah, because Ricky's going to hopefully come back. You don't want to make guys overthink. I think Will Kuntz took the approach where let's try to get as many points as we can before the summer transfer window. Let's set ourselves up opposite of last year and see if we can be in the upper echelon of teams right now. He didn't wait on filling that season-ending injury role. He did it basically in 3 days. I think you're doing everything to make the most out of this MLS season, and I think that's what Galaxy fans should hope for. And then maybe I could see Peck possibly moving on after the summer transfer window, and then who knows? Maybe you can bring in a guy then.
Yeah, no, it raises a lot of interesting possibilities. Just 6 months from now, you have this massive tournament, and then anything goes. Like you mentioned, guys that normally wouldn't think about coming to MLS are already going to be here in country, and they will have seen what it's like. So maybe some players that you wouldn't think about coming here, they wouldn't even think about coming here, are going to be here. Favi, we have one last one for you, and we've spoken about all three Galaxy DPs now. The newest one being Joao Klauss. Do one of them need to be the guy now to step up and be the guy to take the team on the shoulders, or is it more the squad players that need to take that next step forward?
No, I think it's Peck. I think Peck 100% needs to take that step forward. The step that we thought he was going to Liverpool, the step that we thought he was going to play for one of the bigger clubs in Europe. He had a little bit of a decline last year, but the potential's there, and I think he needs to show that step this year. It's going to be tough without Ricky. But I think he, as a player and as a potential European star, he needs to be able to produce in MLS this season. before people kind of right the ship with him.
Y'all heard it here first. Favi is backing Gabriel Peck to be the guy this year, and hopefully he is, because you're right, Favi. He did have a kind of a drop off, but at one point he was being talked about as being potentially the biggest outgoing transfer in MLS, and hopefully he recaptures that kind of form. But Favi, before you get on out of here, man, go ahead and let us know one more time where we can find you, and more importantly, where we can find this announcement that you're about to drop for this big news, man.
This announcement can be found on Kickbase USA. Even if you don't follow on Kickbase USA, you should. You're going to find out about it. All right. And it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a fun one. You can find me at Favi Renkel, or I am Favi Renkel. And you know what we can do together? We can write a letter to MLS about why aren't the Galaxy in the U.S. Open Cup or Cup this year. This makes zero sense to me. This is the first year they did this. This is odd.
We can lobby. Yeah, we were down. Super down.
You learn something every day, and I learned that today. So
there we go.
And it's only 1 a.m. over here. I already learned something.
You're like, only an hour in the day, and look, I'm already learning nuggets here. Hey, Bubba,
time for a quick slice now,
man. Yeah, exactly. Say what up to the homie Justin. Stay warm, Bordeaux. I mean, I see all that snow out there, and man, we're sending you a lot of love from California, a lot of love from home, man. And when you do bring out this announcement and you do take over the world, remember, you still have a home here in La Cuna.
Oh, thank you, bro. I appreciate that. Of course, I mean, no matter where I go in life, I'm gonna be here talking to you too. All right, this is always a pleasure.
Get it,
Favi.
Thanks, man.
Gracias mucho, bro. Sleep well, Papa.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Right. Sweet dreams. Yo, that was our brother Favi, live and direct from Brooklyn, rocking his Tims and doing it real big over there. And yeah, you guys need to keep it locked with him so you guys know what this announcement is about. Man, I'm just itching for him to tell you guys. And man, thank you again for being here on the show. And guys, we have guests like Favi on, we have guests like Sophie Nicolau, the judge, Will Kuntz has been here, Tommy Bogert's been here before. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and then that way you'll know when we have amazing guests like Favi on, and you guys can keep it locked here. Ananda,
yeah, man, we're gonna try to level up for you guys this year. We're gonna try to get some more amazing people on. I mean, Rob, we had I'm just thinking of like Cello. We had Cello on. We had El Presidente on, right?
Can I drop him the teaser? Can I drop him the teaser? Should I tell him? Should I tell him?
Go. You do whatever you want, Baba. This is your show. This is our show.
Nah, man, this is all our show. So, well, you guys know him. You guys love him. He is the voice of the Galaxy. He'll be on the show later this month. Look for that announcement. Joe Tutino, man, he's the legend. Man,
good to have him back.
Good to have him back. I mean, he is one of the reasons that I do what I do, and man, we will let you know when that's happening. And you guys can go ahead and be here, drop some questions, and then just generally show them how much you love them, man. Because honestly, like we were talking about this the other day with some friends, like the Lakers had Schick, the Dodgers have Vin, and we have Joe. So cherish him, love him, show him how much he means to us, and we'll expect you guys to be here when he's on. We do have another super chat from the brother G Cam. Says top show, guys. Thank you guys for being here, for staying up late and hanging out with us. We do have a couple of shout outs before we get on out of here, and then we promise we will let you guys to bed and dreaming about the start of the season and another MLS Cup for the Galaxy. But to start off here, happy Black History Month. Another history, y'all, from Kobe Jones, who's getting a statue later, to Giazzi Zardes, to Joseph Payne. So, man, we have a rich history of Black Galaxy players that have littered the legendary tapestry of just experiences that the Galaxy have gone through in international tournaments, in MLS. I mean, we were lucky enough to go ahead and talk to the truth, Jalen Neal, here on this very podcast. I mean, the history is rich, man. So happy Black History Month. This is a good time to remind you guys that Black Galaxy fans does have a trading card series for Black History Month and Black Galaxy players. So go ahead and pick that one up. Hit them up if you want more information. Happy birthday as well to Joseph Payne. So I just mentioned to him a moment ago. We hope you are surrounded by friends and family. And man, you had a beautiful day. I was definitely bumping your tracks yesterday and today. So congratulations to you. And keeping with Joseph, JP was at the Grammys, Papa. He was there in full effect. Of course, you guys know I just said that I was bumping JP pretty much all day yesterday and today. It's because he's dropping fire music, y'all, and he's at the Grammys now with Maya and Gabriel Pecky, and Maya looking all dapper in his glasses. Look at that. LA Galaxy representation at the Grammys, y'all. Moving on to some community news. The Community Cup went down on the 31st thanks to the Outlaws. They put together a fantastic tournament, and Nag News went on to win another Community Cup. This is back-to-back now. Shout out to those boys. You had 1-2 Threads, a team from 1-2 Threads, a team from Absolution Brew, a team from Ace Customs, and a team from Carson High School as well out there. But in the end, Nag was the one champion. After another year, they get to take the trophy back home. Hopefully, you guys get to take a trophy home from the LA Galaxy Foundation Golf Tournament that's going to be going down at Desert Willow Golf Resort on February 6th. For more information, go ahead and go to lagalaxy.com/golf. That's just in 4 days. So go ahead and get more info. I know some LA Galaxy players are going to be out at that one. Guys, there's also one more closed-door scrimmage before the CVI. That one's against Orange County on Wednesday, February 4th. And then, like we mentioned, the Galaxy will be playing at the CVI on Sunday, February 8th against the Chicago Fire and the fans' first look to this LA Galaxy team. Then on Wednesday, they play midweek on February 11th against St. Louis City. And then it gets real, y'all. Just one more match after that and a closed-door scrimmage against Real Salt Lake on Friday, February 13th. And then 6 days later, they kick off against Sporting San Miguelito on Thursday, February 19th. In their first match of the year, first match of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Of course, we will be live and direct with you guys after that match concludes. We will be here as usual to go ahead and give you our pretty much live reactions to that match. So go ahead and make sure to keep it locked with us. Ananda, we were talking about the CVI as well. Keep it locked here as well. I mean, we're going to be out there. Well, at least I'll be out there and bringing you as much behind the scenes footage as I can. We will certainly go ahead and be recording these press conferences after the matches, and hopefully, we can go ahead and bring you those. So keep it locked with Cuna Galaxiana. Go ahead and like and subscribe so you can go ahead and find out when those press conferences will drop. Anandita, lastly, go ahead and hang out with your community, y'all. Go ahead and share a beer, because Absolution Brew will be throwing a watch party for the first game of the season against Sporting San Miguelito on Thursday, 2/19 at their tap room. The game kicks off at 5, and go ahead and go hang out with them, some of your G community. And I think that takes us to the end of this episode, Ananda. Anything else to add, Papa?
Man, super fun having Favi on. Just, he's such a hard worker, man. He covers this league so well and in depth. I mean, he knows sort of the movements and really the growth of this league in the worldwide market, right? Worldwide soccer, footballing world. And so it was just good to get that outsider perspective, and also just his takes on the Galaxy in general. I think a lot of what he said was probably consistent with what a lot of Galaxy fans feel and think. I think he's reasonably optimistic, but also grounded. I think, the Galaxy, look, man, it's as I think it was Ben Wright that put this really well. Or Ben Wright or Joe Lowry, I can't remember now. But basically, the Galaxy should be an automatic playoff team, but now it's the range, right? It's like will the team gel quickly enough to be a top contender? Or will they still need time to gel and then things will need to happen in the summer transfer window? I don't know. I'm just super intrigued at CVI. Like I said, like, what does Greg do? Like, I'm interested to see the different formations, the different tactics. Do we play more defensive? But I don't want to read too much into this, but 1 goal allowed in 2 closed door scrimmages. That's got to count for something, right? So super excited. The season's finally here. CVI is this weekend, and then the season starts 2 weeks or so from now. Man, it's coming thick and fast, and I'm here for it. I'm ready to start the season. I'm like anxious now. I'm anxious to get the season started to see what this team has in them.
No, yeah, man. I mean, it's so crazy that it's basically here. It's Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. You're going to get your first look at the Galaxy. Oh, you know what? I don't think legally we can say the name of that game. And I heard the other day that you're not supposed to say Super Bowl. You're supposed to say the big game or something like that. But, I don't think they're going to come at us. But anyway, it's just a couple of days away. We're going to be there in the desert at the CVI, and we're going to get to see Jakob Glessen's lineup in the back line for the first time. You're going to get to see Erik Thommy and how Greg Vanney will use him. You're going to see Justin Hack and how that could go ahead and develop, whether he's going to be a center back or a defensive midfielder. But either way, it's going down on Sunday, guys. But it's also going down next Thursday, or this Thursday, actually, rather. On Thursday, February 5th, we're going to be bringing you our first preview of the year, a look ahead to the Galaxy's first CVI match against the Chicago Fire that we have been plugging here. And then on Monday, we'll bring you the match reaction. We're bringing you our first match reaction of the year. We'll try to behave, we promise. It's the first look the fans will get of the Galaxy this year, so hopefully you guys will be here in chat to tell us know what you thought of the team as well. Ananda, anything to add before we get on out of here?
Chat, thanks for hanging with us and hanging with us late. Hope y'all have a fantastic rest of your weeks, and we'll see y'all on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll see you on Thursday, and thank you guys so much for being with us here on another episode of Cuna Galaxiana. We want to thank our guest, Favi Renkel, who, again, just incredible knowledge, incredible outside perspective of something that we don't really hear all the time, about the Galaxy. So it was good to get his viewpoint, and as well, I'm looking forward to that announcement that he's going to drop with us, or drop to the world, rather, on Wednesday. Until we meet again, guys, you know where to find us. YouTube.com/@Cuna Galaxiana. Like and subscribe. Show us some love. Everything that we do gets hopefully you excited about this Galaxy team, about MLS. Every little bit of love that you show us, we hope to put back into the show. And until we meet again, there's only one thing left to say.
Dale.
Jesus.